Hey, it's Wednesday again. Let's get moving.
All right, so if you didn't see my video from yesterday, it's because I just posted it today, but I did record it yesterday. My hashtag IF&STL, intermittent fasting in St. Louis uh, video yesterday was great. Talked about the frequency of how many times people eat compared to 42 years ago to today, and how much more and frequent people are eating. But that's yesterday's video. Let's talk about what we're getting into today. So today, getting moving has a lot to do with progression and regressions. Now, we spent all of our life from the time when we're first born to try to become better at using our body. And the better we're using our body, that means the more mobile we can be, and the more places we can go, we can do, and more dynamic. And we started as a baby where we went from laying on our back or our belly and not being able to move around. And so we actually looked around with our eyes as we're laying on our backs or on our bellies, and we start learning and using some control and being able to lift our head up. It's one of the first things that we're actually able to do. And then once we see things that we want across a room or across the floor, and we start thinking, I want that. And so we start thinking, well, how can I get that? And they start learning motor control with their arms. And they start thinking, I'm going to start reaching for that. And as they're reaching for it, they finally get enough of their core control to where they start to throw their body into, or they finally learn to roll over. And then they start learning to do that from their belly to their back, and then start realizing that I can actually hold myself up in a seated position. And from that seated position, they're reaching around and they're doing all these wonderful things, but they see things still across the room that they want to get to. And then they start getting onto their knees, and the next thing they know, they're on 2 hands and 2 knees, and they're just learning how they can move one arm, 1 hand, and then maybe a knee, and they start moving, and they're crawling. And from crawling, all of a sudden they find themselves where they get next to a piece of furniture, someone's leg, or a wall, or a bed, and they start realizing that they're going to start trying to pull themselves up because they see mom and dad and brother and sister, or aunt and uncle, or grandma, grandpa, friend, next door neighbor. They see them all upright, walking around with these feet and these legs, and that looks, I want to do that. So we get them standing, and then they start getting brave and start realizing that they have control and that they can actually stand up all by themselves. It's exciting as a parent to see that for the first time. And then all of a sudden they get braver and they start to think, hey, I see that across the room. I'm not on my hands and knees anymore. I'm upright. And I'm going to start try to take that one step because I see everybody else doing it. I'm going to start walking over there. And then all of a sudden they start realizing that putting one foot in front of the other gets to be easier and easier. And the next thing they know, they're running, or they're on both feet and they jump up into the air to get higher. And all of these things are dynamic progressions on early child development that is actually appropriate to kind of follow in those lines, right? And then those start to become more challenged because you start to see them grabbing things and wanting to throw them, or to crawl under things and then get up and stand up and get down as fast as possible. Or if they fall down, they get up and bam, they're wanting to go, 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 go. There's hopping, skipping, jumping, rolling and tucking and rolling, cartwheels, all these wonderful things that we took great excitement in while we were children. And then we get into a little bit later in life, and some kids adapt and want to do more of these things, but other kids not as much, but that's okay. But as they're still capable to do this, I mean, I've seen some little kids that you didn't think were athletes do some pretty athletic things. And I saw some kids that look pretty athletic and they still don't do very well because they don't train themselves, or they're genetically not predisposed to that. Anyhow, as we get into this, we spend the majority of these kids, they spend the rest of their days going through PE classes, and some do sports, and they get bigger, taller, stronger. A lot of these people that even develop into very good athletes. But the sooner in life that we actually stop moving and we start sitting more often, and we stand upright too long so much, and we forget what it's like to actually get back down on the ground. And so getting up and down off the ground becomes very difficult when it was one of those very primordial activities that we did so early in life that we all had to go through to get upright. And yet we don't do it anymore. And so I'm advocating for here is that we need to learn to spend some more time on the ground. And as we spend more time on the ground, we're going to start learning how to use our bodies all over again. And think about it this way too. You have all these different fingers and toes and hands and feet that have really rich densities of nerve endings in them, okay? And we experience our world through touch and through contact. And if we had lost our perception of our environment, we would all die. Imagine if you had no touch, sight, smell, sound, hearing, any of your five senses, and how difficult it would be to respond to your environment. If you couldn't feel hot, cold, soft touch, hard touch, sharp, dull, you wouldn't be able to recognize whether something's potentially dangerous to you or not. But think of it this way. Now that you're on the ground, how much more of your skin is actually in contact with something? And that your center of gravity is lower instead of being taller. And you start to have to observe your world through different eyes and through different experiences. The same experiences that you had in your early life when you were really curious. And so it's really important. Again, I'm going to re-advocate for this. Let's get on the ground a lot more often. If you're going to watch TV, don't watch it from the comfort of your lazy boy or from your couch, or get on the ground, sit back, watch it while you're sitting there and looking at the TV screen. You can even move around, lay on your side, watching it. If that gets tiring, roll around to the other side, watch it from that point of view. As you keep changing these positions around, at first when you start doing this, it may make some sorenesses and stiffnesses, kind of like any new exercise routine. Sitting on the ground is like exercise. I'm starting to feel a burn right here at my hip flexors and my core, trying to keep me upright while I'm sitting here with my legs straight out. Now, if I sat here with my knees bent, that puts them on slack. Then I have to start using other muscles and start compensating. Now, a lot of times you probably just want to take and grab your knees and be as efficient as possible and use as littlest amount of energy as possible. But if you watched my video about communication on Monday, on my Get Motivated, I told you 10% of what you say is the words you use. 30% it comes from the inflection and tone, and up to 60% comes from body language. And so, as you can see, I'm a big hand talker. I move my head around. I look around the room. I don't know how to talk too well without using my hands and using body language, because I have so much energy and so much passion for these things that I'm trying to teach you guys, and I want my body to tell that message to you as well. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off today, and the next subsequent weeks when it comes to Get Moving, something for you to look forward to. We're going to do a lot more. I'm going to show you some exercises that I teach to almost all my patients that begin on the ground. We call it primal movement patterns from early on development, and how we can get back to an upright position without pain. All right. Well, take care, and look for my video coming up on this Friday as well about getting metabolic, and Monday videos on get motivated, and on Tuesdays hashtag IFNSTL intermittent fasting in St. Louis. Hit the notification bell, subscribe to my station here. We've been at this for almost a month now, and we're up to 15 subscribers. Like to see that number go up, because if that goes up, then I'm affecting and teaching more to more people. And you can share these videos also on other social media platforms. I try to share these on my Instagram as well as my Facebook pages as well. So share the message, get people moving, and we'll see you next time.